going to dye my hair. And first step is to put, I guess, Vaseline all over. Yeah. So it doesn't like get on my forehead because it's black hair dye and that stuff goes everywhere. So if it gets on my forehead, it'll dye my forehead black for a week. Okay, so I'm going to put on this towel because it's black hair dye, and so I don't want to get any of it on my shirt. Okay. So while we're doing this, we're going to play a little game, and I invented it. It's called Hypothetical Situation. So what it is we take this, we read off the scenario. It's actually like a writing prompt, and then we have to say what we would do if we were the person in that story. It's your turn. Do you want me to just read it to you? Mm-hmm. Okay. You are in an interrogation room. A man walks in and throws a bunch of photos on the table in front of you. The photos are old and were taken at different points in history. You are in each one. He demands to know who you are.
I guess if I was in that situation, I wouldn't want to say the truth. Probably say something like, that's not really me, that's like my grandparents or something like that, you know, like some relatives, and the family gene's just really strong.
Yeah, that sounds like really
Because
good.
I wouldn't want to say that it was really me, because then you have to go through like all of this testing, and
oh, you would never get out.
You would never ever be able to live your life again, because then you'd have to move to like the Bermuda Triangle or something just to be able to get away from everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would just say that it was like old family and they were all relatives.
You and your partner bought rings that let you feel each other's heartbeats. You couldn't bear to take yours off when they were buried. It has just started beating again. Okay, so everybody's first thought is probably zombie, but my first thought would be that somebody dug up my husband and put on the ring. And so I'd probably like try to hunt it down. Like first thing I would do is go to the grave site and demand to know if he was dug up or not. And if they say he wasn't, I'd be like, then dig him up. I gotta know, like, is his body still there? Is his ring still there? And if for whatever reason, if it was him, then I'd be like, I'd probably be freaked out. But if it turns out that, because there's grave robbers, so if his body was stolen or if all of his jewelry was stolen, I would probably try and seek it out and try and get it back. And I'd be one mad mama, I tell you. Alright, you ready?
Yeah.
The greatest lie the devil ever told was convincing us that we weren't already in hell.
Oh.
I have lots of theories on that.
Yeah, you and I have had several conversations about that. Well, number one, be upset. Because then I'd find out that, you know, my whole life was a lie. But I would want to know why he did that in the first place. And then after, if he did tell me, that would be the biggest thing. If he did tell, I guess I'd just live my life in a very mundane way and never really want to experience anything because it was all a lie. The way I'm thinking is what you and I have talked about, how whenever you die, that's our hell because we just come back as in a different way or like a different person and we don't know. Yeah. So I don't think I would like try and go to college or anything like that. I think each time I died, I would try and live a different thing. Mm-hmm. So like instead of going to college, the next life I would, you know, be a professional skydiver or something. I don't know, something crazy.
I'd probably actually get married.
Yeah, like.
Still not having any kids though. Oh, give me chill. One day, while messing with the books on your bookshelf, you discover a mysterious passage behind it. There is just one problem. You live in a small apartment, and behind that wall is supposed to be the outside world. Ooh, I would probably call Guy, grab a flashlight, and go. Because I wouldn't go alone, because I would probably die. And guy, if you don't know, he's on a football team. He is a quarterback, and he has he's like really tall. He's what, 6'7"?
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a lot stronger than I am. So I would most definitely call him and be like, hey, I found this passage and I don't want to go in it alone. And he'd probably be like, all right, sounds good. And then we would just go and figure out what was behind it.
Crazy.
That'd be so cool. You'd probably, if I could, I wouldn't call you because you'd be like, oh my God, don't be that stupid girl who goes, and I'd be like, I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious, but I don't know. I think if I found some random passage, I would probably go
like
into it,
the saying, the saying goes, curiosity killed the cat. But honestly, if we didn't have curiosity, then how would we have anything that we have now? Everyone has their little secrets, but you just found a supervillain lair under your house belonging to your spouse. Oh, oh man.
Ooh. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be mad. I'd be mad that I didn't know, but at the same time, can you really get mad at them for that? Because that is something that they kind of have to hide because, ooh, that's like, then you would have to find out, like, that superheroes were real. Like, imagining living your whole life being like, oh, superheroes are just in a movie.
Yeah.
And then you see that, and you're like, holy cow, that means that these movies aren't technically movies.
I would hope my, like, he'd be, like, the Joker, like, not, like, abusive, but, like, just wanting to watch the world burn and not hating any particular person.
Yeah, I would definitely want to be a part of it with him because it's my spouse, and, you know, I would totally be a part of it with them. Because why not?
Oh, this one's long.
Oh.
After years of gentle persuasion, your best friend since childhood finally agrees to seek professional help for serious mental problems, which to your dismay, as she begins to improve, you slowly start to realize that you were her imaginary friend.
Oh, dang.
I didn't know that was going to be so hard.
So I would end up totally 100% tricking them and telling them that therapy was making them worse.
You're evil. No, you really do have a husband who is a supervillain. Be kind of like the book Forgotten Girl by Jessica Sorensen, where the girl that has like multiple personality disorder. I would hope it'd be more like that, where instead of like I'm just an imaginary friend, I'm actually a part of her, and even though she might be getting better, I'm like always there.
Okay.
You know, so it's just like you only have like two personalities, and the weaker one obviously is gonna be the one that's gonna go. So like in that book, they were sisters, and the first one had such a huge thing happen to her that her sister just became a part of her. Since I was the one who told her to go get help, that she would be the crazy one, and since I'm the sane one and I'm the one that's weaker, obviously I'm going to be the one that's going to be going under. There's nothing I can do about it because I'm the weaker one. So I'm like always there, but I'm just not there like all the time because she got herself under control. And I would probably actually go crazy, like scream things in her head. But
just to see if she listens.
Just, yeah. Because like in that book, she like, oh, just let me take control. And she would let her take control, and the other girl got stronger and stronger and stronger. So I'd probably try to do that. One day in class, you decide to scream something in your head to catch mind readers. As you do, you see your crush flinch. Ooh.
That'd be bad. Ooh.
I
have so many thoughts that run through my mind, especially about a crush.
You nasty.
No, I would honestly do that like 3 or 4 times. Because if you just did it once, that could just be coincidence.
Yeah.
But if you did it like 3 or 4 days in a row and the same thing happened, that's whenever I would start to freak out. And then I would start purposely thinking things just to see what they would say.
I would probably start planning their murder in my mind.
Just to see like what they would do.
Yeah. Like if they like quit showing up. Like that's what I would do. Be like, ways to kill, I don't know.
Johnny Appleseed.
Todd. Poor Todd.
Dang it, Todd.
There is a prison where there are no guards, yet the prisoners are too afraid to escape. Oh, okay. So I saw this one, and I actually kind of have a thing about it. So my thing is the prison is actually run down. Like, it's not an actual prison anymore. It's just an abandoned building, and all the prisoners are ghosts. And if they leave, then they just turn into smoke, and they don't know what happens to them. So they just stay circling the prison for all of their afterlife because they're afraid of what's going to happen to them when they leave.
Oh, dang.
The Earth is flat, and NASA is guarding a giant ice wall in Antarctica. Beyond that wall is more continents and oceans that only the elite inhabit. A group of explorers seek past the wall and discover the rest of the world. It
Like,
is
straight.
like I heard about the flat Earth thing.
Yeah,
but
the flat Earth thing is really dumb. But the Antarctica thing is actually a conspiracy theory that people talk about because, like Hitler, they say that Hitler wasn't actually a jerk like everybody thinks. He had gone to the center of Antarctica, which is where the center of the world is, supposedly. And he went there and saw these creatures that were the perfect creature, and they had blonde hair and blue eyes. So when he said he was trying to make the perfect person, he was actually just trying to recreate those creatures.
wow, I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah.
Is that on conspiracytheory.com?
You know, that's probably an actual website.
It might be. Kind of like when people say thebomb.com, didn't realize that it was an actual site. Remember when that was popular?
Whoa, wait, that's an actual site?
Yeah, it is.
What? I didn't know
It's
that.
kind of a boring site. Like, it's not really that great. But yeah, people used to always be like, "Oh, that's thebomb.com." And then one day, me and my sister got curious and Googled it, and it was a thing. I don't know if it's still a thing. It was in 2005. You live in a world where every person receives a superpower on their 18th birthday. You eagerly count down the seconds, then shriek in horror as you were given a power no one would ever want to be stuck with.
Ooh.
Oh, okay, so I've read a book kind of like this, also by Jessica Sorensen. I don't remember the name of it. But this girl, I think in the book she was a Grimm Angel, I think is what they called it. And when she touched people, she could see their deaths. And she was afraid to touch anybody, ever. And I think that that'd probably be one of the worst things. Because, like, imagine, like, you wouldn't want to hug your mom, you wouldn't want to get married, you wouldn't want to do any of the things that normal people do.
Yeah.
You'd be afraid to do anything. You'd be afraid to be around people. You'd be one of those people who just sit around their house and not do anything.
Well, and it wasn't even your fault.
Yeah, like, what if you just sat there and you're like, oh, nothing happened, and you go hug your mom for comfort because you have no idea what it is, and then you realize that you can see her death. Or, I thought, it could be like, if you want to go, like, supernatural way, because we've kind of been talking about this for a little bit, and I don't know if they've actually had this on the show, but I think it'd be cool if, like, you didn't have a soul. Because, you know, everything in there is like, oh, well, we're getting souls, and this soul goes here, and blah, blah, blah. So they have a lot of that on the show, and so what if you could see, like, people's, you know, like, auras, you can, you know, see how people are, like, some are purple, some are red, and, so, like, souls, like, you know, red is, like, full of anger, and then white is purity, blah, blah, blah. And so you could see people's souls and see, like, what kind of person they were from their souls, and then, but the reason you have that power is because you don't have one. I don't know which would be worse. Probably the death thing.
Actually, there is an episode. There's a few episodes.
There is? God, I am so behind. I'm on season 9.
No, it already happened. Sam, he lived without a soul for right whenever he got back from hell.
Oh, yeah, but yeah. Okay, yeah, I forgot about that.
But it's not, he didn't have that power. But for you to, it's like in The Magicians whenever she loses her essence. Or whatever it was.
Her shade.
Shade, yeah. when they lose their shade, like, they become heartless and cold and cruel, and, like, you have no emotions, you have no feelings. So in my opinion, that would be worse because you wouldn't feel anything anymore. And so you would see, you know, that people have that or whatever, like, whatever soul they have.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't affect you.
These are the things that I think about. When the police came to announce you the death of your husband, you refused to believe it. That's impossible, you said. Unfortunately, it's the truth, miss, answered the policeman. It's impossible, you said again, because he's in the kitchen making dinner.
He had a twin brother that no one knew about, not even him. And he died, and they thought it was your husband. But it could also be that same theory, but your husband was actually the one who died. And for like a couple weeks or something, it was actually the twin that was staying with you.
Oh, that was on an episode of SVU, I think. Wasn't it? Yeah. This lady was married, and he didn't know she had a sister, and the sister was, like, being sold into, like, sex trafficking and stuff. And then the married sister died, and then the other sister, like, took her rings and then went home to her sister's house and pretended to be her, like, being married and raised her child.
Dang.
Yeah. You are in a typical awkward elevator ride with a group of other people. Suddenly, a man says, "So, I bet you are wondering why I've gathered you all here today," before hitting the emergency stop button. I would be freaked. My first thought would be like, holy crap, like, these people in here are spies and I'm just one of the casualties and I'm going to die. Or it's like a bunch of, like, really, really, like, criminals with money. It's like one of the scariest things in the world to me is bad people with money. So I would think criminals with money, and all these people are criminals, and I'm female, I'm not very strong, I'm kind of small, well, not compared to you, but I'm kind of small, and I'd be easy to take advantage of, and so that would also be my thing. It'd be like, crap, these people are going to kidnap me, I'm going to get raped. All these bad scenarios would just be going through my mind. Just like, I am going to die.
Do you want me to read it?
I got it.
Okay.
I'll just bring it, like, really close to my face. Every person has a certain word that, if spoken aloud in their presence, will cause them to die instantly. While cleaning out an abandoned storage unit, you stumble upon a book that contains the name of every living person, also reveals their death word.
Oh.
Man.
Oh, that's like the movie The Death Note. Like, that's what I instantly think
of. Oh, yeah. I
movie.
freaking love that movie.
It was a great movie, but, like, think about that. If you could easily control someone's death, and nobody would be able to trace it either, because you would just say a word, and you could be the last person that spoke to him, but they can't prove anything, because all you did was speak.
Yeah.
So if you had someone who, like, you knew was a bad person, or technically if someone just really ticked you off one day, like, all you have to do is say tomato or something.
Imagine if your word was a medical word and you went to med school. Like, if my word was, like, I don't know, super spinatus, because that's the first thing that popped in my head. I don't know. And
medulla oblongata.
test or something, and then somebody gets up and says, hey, what, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, say something. Okay, just stand there. That's cool. Okay, silence is the word, apparently. No, you just get up and somebody says something and you're in your last test and you just die. Like, that would freaking suck. Okay. In a world where everyone can read minds, you're the only person that cannot. But your mind cannot be read either. Oh, man! Oh. I would freak so many people out. They'd be like, I wish I knew what you were thinking. Yeah, I bet you do.
Twilight.
Oh,
How?
No, don't, no. Just, I'm gonna stop you there. Just,
Listen. Okay, so it'd be like
Twilight.
It'd be like in Twilight whenever, Edward tries to read Bella's mind, but she's the only person that he can't read. So then you'd just be able to keep all of your thoughts hidden to yourself. Like, it sucked to not be able to read everybody else's thoughts. But you could think whatever you wanted.
You would be the most powerful person in the world.
Yeah, if everybody else read minds and they couldn't read yours, you could...
I feel like that would intimidate a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. You could easily... You're right. You could easily be the most powerful person in the world.
I could easily become president. Oh my god, can you imagine me, president, sticking... president. In a deep depression, you decide to end your life. You don't dare do it yourself, so you hire an assassin to do it at random within a year. The following day, you change your mind but can't get a hold of the assassin.
Oh, dang.
That's funny. If I were the assassin, I would, purposely, ignore their calls. But I would make my way into their friend group so that way, she or he, I don't know, they wouldn't know who I was. And I would just be one of their friends, so that way I could decide when they get to die. Or, if they did change their mind and they, started freaking out about it, I wouldn't have to kill them.
With, because you wouldn't want to do anything. You wouldn't ever want to go out anywhere, because if you went out, and then you also wouldn't want to be in your house, because assassins are super highly trained.
I would definitely go places. I'd be like, hey, you want to go to Aruba for a week? I would just blow all my money within that year. Two different opinions.
Yeah.
I would blow all my money in that year. I don't know when I'm going to die. I just know it's going to be sometime this year.
Yeah, that's true.
I would live it up. I would finally go to Fiji.
Ooh, I'd go to... That's a nerd response. That should be your response. I would totally go over to the UK and visit visit Hogwarts. Because they actually have, a Hogwarts thing.
Really?
Yeah, they actually have, a whole thing that you can go over and go to.
I don't have any friends in the UK. All the people here that are from the UK, I don't,
they're annoying.
Yeah, they talk down to us for whatever reason. We won the war, okay? So, you have the most useless superpower in a world full of awesome superpowers. You are a laughing stock. That is until you start using your power for evil. No one is laughing now. If you had the power, if you had the power to read minds, let's be honest, that's actually pretty lame, because you can just do that by going on Facebook, okay? That's pretty lame. Okay. However, if you used your power for evil, you could always be one step ahead of the good guys.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So, if you were there and you could hear the cops thinking, you'd be like, I can get out of here. Transforming. Shape-shifting is actually kind of useless. So, if you were a shapeshifter and you used it for evil, then nobody would ever recognize you.
I don't know. I feel like shape-shifting is actually pretty useful, if you think about it. Because you can easily change... I mean, it wouldn't be necessarily a superpower...
but see, exactly, it wouldn't be, you wouldn't be, somebody with, super strength, or you wouldn't be able to turn invisible. You would only be able to change your appearance, and that is really lame.
Yeah.
Unless you're an evil villain.
Then you could change your appearance to anybody, so it could be like, oh, so-and-so with this description was spotted.
Exactly.
That's not your description anymore.
Exactly. All right. Do you want to read your last one?
Yeah. A demon possesses a little girl, but inside her, it finds something worse.
Oh! I'm really a dragon.
The only thing that I can think of that would be worse than just a demon would be Satan himself, who helped build all of the demons and create all of them. So he goes to possess this little girl, and Satan's like, all right, I'm going to let you do it, because, I want to see what you're going to do. Well, then he gets inside her head and finds Satan chilling in the corner for her, because he was waiting until she was a certain age to pop up and really say that he was there.
Kind of like the devil's daughter kind of thing.
Yeah,
Could you imagine, everybody the Antichrist? I'd say the Antichrist is a woman, Okay, so you could use that. And he just, the demon doesn't know, and so he possesses this little girl, and that little girl's actually Antichrist.
That's the only thing that I could think of that would be worse, would be finding out that Satan was actually inside.
Oh my gosh, yeah. freaking, could you imagine being that demon? She's half demon, so she can keep you there if she wants to, like in your own, like, little prison.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Well, her hair is done.
Yeah, so I need to get in the shower.
Yeah, otherwise it's going to be a lot darker than the rest of her hair. And it'll be like a different type of skunk. So, and we've read all of our prompts. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this.
Ooh, didn't Dee do a good job with my hair? Like no roots. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. I put out new videos every Sunday. Check me out. But until then, I'm peacing out.